Hey guys, how's it going? This is Autobot JCB here coming to you with part 3 of my top picks for my Transformers Armada Minicon characters. In this video, I'm going to be doing showing you guys my picks for my top 5 favorite Minicon teams. So I'm just going to go ahead and jump into this and we're going to get started. So coming in at my number 5 spot, as much as I like these little guys, I unfortunately had to give the number 5 spot to the air military teams. The biggest reason why I gave that to this particular set is because we really only see them one time. I absolutely love their secondary modes where they can all turn into wrist-mounted weapons. Gun barrel can turn into a 6-barreled cannon, which I call the turbine cannon because it is made up of the turbines of his jet mode. As for dive bomb here, he can turn into what I believe is either some type of shield or even like a throwing star or a shuriken. And then Terra Dive here can turn into a 3-bladed wrist-mounted gauntlet, which I think would be pretty cool. It honestly makes me think of the wrist gauntlet from the Predator, if that helps you guys. But anyway, as much as I like this team, I wish they would have had more screen time. I love that they were shown most noticeably in the episode. I believe the episode was called Link Up, and it was the episode where Optimus and Jetfire actually power linked into Jet Convoy. So my number 5 spot, I'm giving to the air military team. All right, and coming in at number 4, this team was actually a pretty easy pick for me, so I gave the number 4 spot to the Destruction Team Minicons. These Minicons are Drillbit, Buzzsaw, and Dueler. One thing I like about them, especially considering that they are construction vehicles, well, Dueler's more of a tank than anything, but Drillbit obviously turns into a drill, Buzzsaw obviously turns into a saw. But one thing I thought was interesting, when I was a kid, I always thought this was like supposed to be a handsaw. But if you look very carefully at the blade on Buzzsaw's arm, you'll notice that those aren't saw. That's not a saw blade. That's a giant scoop wheel for one of those big giant excavators they use at like quarry sites and stuff like that. He's a scaled down version of an excavator. I never realized that until years later. So I guess better late than never, but I still think that's insane because when he's transformed, he honestly looks like he's a little handsaw. But anyway, the reason I picked these 3 for my number 4 spot, as much as I like them, the only one that really saw any screen time was Drillbit. There were a couple episodes where Cyclonus used him to fight with the Autobots. One thing I absolutely love about these guys is the gimmick where they can actually link on to the underside of Cyclonus to grant him different powers and different weapons. So my number 4 spot goes to the Destruction Team Minicons. All right, moving right along. And in my number 3 spot, these guys have always been one of my favorite Minicon sets. So I gave the number 3 spot to the Land Military Team. These Minicons are Knockout, Wreckage, and Bone Crusher. The biggest reason why I gave the number 3 spot to these guys was because these are 3 of, I believe, 5 Minicons. There was an episode where the Decepticons decided that they were going to use a whole bunch of different warp gates, and they were going to separate the Autobots and try to divide their forces in order to conquer them one by one. It ended up at a point where Optimus and I believe it was Fred and Rad were isolated in the desert with Megatron. And Megatron had these 3 Minicons plus 2 others, I believe, facing off against Optimus. And Optimus pleaded with these Minicons that they didn't have to fight anymore, that they wouldn't be harmed and all this other stuff. And it actually helped them overcome the corrupted programming that Megatron had put in them, and they actually turned on Megatron and saved Optimus. That's why this particular set has always been one of my favorites. I love the amount of detail, especially since all three of them have actual the missiles on them. All of them will actually fire. I love the military setup where you have a tank. I guess he could be considered a fire truck, but I don't know why a fire truck would have a rocket launcher. And then, of course, another tank. So, yeah, my number 3 spot goes to the land military team. All right, and coming in at my number 2 spot, this particular set has always been one of my personal favorites. I know I keep saying that every set is my favorite, but honestly, with as long as I've been collecting these, pretty much all of these minicons are my favorites. But anyway, my number 2 spot I am giving to the Air Defense Team minicons. As you guys know, anybody who's a fan of Transformers Armada will know that these 3 minicons were the first second power linking team that was tracked down on Earth, and these 3 make up the mighty Star Saber. And yes, I do have 2 sets. But so one thing I absolutely love, I love the amount of detail that goes into these minicons. I love the transparent armor. I do know that there's another set, another variation of these where it actually is blue transparent. It's blue transparent plastic, and then there's also another set where they have all white instead of transparent armor altogether. Overall, I think the amount of detail in these is really good. One of my honestly, my favorite of these 3 is actually Sonar, because of all the detail they put into his chest plate and on his face and everything. But my number 2 spot goes to the Air Defense Team and the Star Saber. All right, and now we've reached the coup de grace. In my opinion, this honestly, this set has always been one of my absolute favorite sets. So I went ahead and gave my number 1 spot to the Street Action Team minicons. These are Grinder, Highwire, and Sure Shock. Obviously, the biggest reason why I gave it to this set is because the first minicon that was ever found in Transformers Armada was Highwire, and the fact that you can actually combine all 3 into Perceptor. I'm not going to do that in this video, but if you would like to go check out my video list, I do have this video up there, and you can actually see how to combine all 3 into the Perceptor character. But anyway, so like I said, the biggest reason why I picked this team was because Highwire was the first minicon that was found. But honestly, I think that the fact that when they first find Highwire, he doesn't actually have a vehicle mode. He actually does a scan of Rad's bike, and that's how he acquires his BMX vehicle mode. And then the same thing with Sure Shock and Grinder. Sure Shock scanned Carlos's skateboard, and Grinder scanned Alexis's scooter. I don't think any of the other minicons in the series actually scanned a vehicle mode. I think they were just pre-programmed with a vehicle mode. But I still think that's pretty cool that even if all of them don't have that ability, I think it's pretty cool that some of them can actually scan vehicles just like the bigger Transformers can. So my number 1 spot goes to the Street Action Team. But anyway, guys, so there are my picks for my top 5 favorite my top 5 minicon teams for the Transformers Armada series. If you guys have any alternate ideas for that lineup of other teams, you feel free to let me know down in the comments. I'm always open to suggestions. But anyway, so there's my that is part 3 of my top minicon videos. I'm still going to be continuing on with the Transformers Energon series, and then pretty soon, maybe at the beginning of February, I'm going to be starting in on my Transformers Cybertron series. So if you guys have any suggestions for Transformers Cybertron, let me know down in the comments. Even hit that like and subscribe button and hit that notification bell, and I will do my best to keep these videos going, and I will do my best to keep you guys entertained. Until then, bye.